What's up, core reporters, and welcome back to my channel. It's time for another recap of Love is Blind. This time we're tackling episode 3. In this episode, Irina, she issues a major ultimatum to Zach, almost a threat. It seemed very manipulative. So we're going to get into that and some other things. Starting off with her bestie, Micah, meeting Paul for the first time. Can I just say, I did not feel any chemistry between the two of them. As you can see in this image, there's a lot of like distance between the two of them. Like they kind of just like were taking each other in. Maybe there are people who just need more time to observe though. I could be wrong, but the body language was off. I don't think I even remember if they kissed or not. Maybe they had a quick peck, but I did not see like the passionate kind of love affair situation that was evident in Brett and Tiffany and Marshall and Jackie, but I digress. We're going to have to keep an eye on them and see how that kind of develops. One thing that's a little bit more on the positive side in regards to their meeting is that Paul calls it one of the best days of his life. But again, I felt like something was missing. So I don't know if he really feels that way or if he's trying to convince himself. Because how many times does that happen, right? Where someone tells you they're so happy with someone, this relationship, and then like a couple months or weeks or years later, they break up and they say this person had been awful this whole time. I was trying to convince myself and my friends, you know? Not that I'm saying that's going on here. I'm just saying. Now, let's get back into this. Like I told you guys, Jackie had decided that she was going to go with Marshall instead of Josh because she knew that she would be able to grow more with him because he is emotionally available. I really loved their proposal. It was very sweet on both ends. And now let's get into this guy. This guy, I cannot stand him. Kwame. Also, sidebar, why is he mispronouncing his own name? Is Kwame not pronounced Kwame? Why is he calling it Kwame? I wonder if that's like kind of like him trying to like sanitize his name. What do you call that? To whitewash his name a little bit. Because remember, Kwame has a lot of self-hate issues. He hates that he's African. He hates that he's Black. And so, you know, that might be part of it. But I digress. Anyway, let's get into his selfish nature. He goes for his second choice, his backup, Chelsea, because Micah ditched him for Paul. The two of them are engaged. And so Kwame goes, you know what? Let me go for my backup. And what does he say about Chelsea? My favorite thing about Chelsea, you guys, it's not how kind she is. It's not how smart she is. It's not how funny she is. It's that she loves me. Please, when I tell you, men can be so damn selfish. Ask a man what his favorite thing about you is. And if it's something you do for him or like your love for him, run in the other direction because absolutely not. I'm sorry, but absolutely not. So he does end up like singing some kind of a song. Well, he didn't just sing a song. He and Chelsea collaborated to create this like really, really mediocre, and mediocre is being generous. Please don't say that. That's rude. So they come up with a song, okay? And then, yeah, like that kind of just gets Chelsea like to fall for him again. And I'm like, girl, really? That's all it took? I'm sorry, but oof. Now, Zach, he has like this bunny. Remember, he used to move around all the time because he grew up very poor. His mom was stripping to try to make ends meet. But of course, it was very difficult to put food on the table like that and being a single parent and everything. So the one constant that Zach had in his life growing up was this bunny named Ralph. And so he brings Ralph to the adventure, and then he has the producers put Ralph in Irina's room. And so Irina, she's like, wow, that's like so cute. And instead of just appreciating the moment, she asks Zach if Bliss has also gotten to meet Ralph. So Zach tells the truth, and he goes, yeah. And this is where the manipulation kicks in, right? Like, you're on a show where people date a bunch of different people. You're sharing all of these same stories or similar stories, right? Because different people bring out different sides of you with multiple different people. So why would Irina be so irate that Zach had introduced Bliss to the same bunny that he's introducing her to? You know, so she's like, wow, how dare he? You know what? Let me like bring out the claws. So she, you know, again, here comes the manipulation, the threats and what. She's like, well, you know what then? I want to go home. Okay. You're not sure about me at this point, then I want to go home. Which was so like, oh my God, like you guys, you know what you sign up for when you come on the show. You guys are just ahead of proposal day, which means that like there still is time to keep like forming all of these different connections. And so that's not enough for Irina. She decides next that she wants to start going in on Bliss. She wants to criticize her. So what does Irina say about Bliss? Irina says, you know what? Come on now. Okay, maybe Bliss has fancy words, better vocabulary, blah, blah, blah. But like, I'm more street smart than her. I've got my own business. I'm this, I'm that. And so at this point, Zach says, you know what, Irina, let me tell you what one of my concerns about you is, all right? I'm concerned that you're more vicious than I am. I'm sorry, but if a man called me vicious, I'd be like, oh, I would be like putting myself into questions, like what have I said? What have I done that would make him use this? Because it's a very serious word, in my opinion. And so Irina should have probably done some introspection to see why he would say that about her, because I do think it's serious. And I do think that it's typically a turnoff. Is it not a turnoff to you if someone is vicious? It would be to me, right? It's like, oh, I don't want to be in the claws of someone like that, right? And so Irina is shocked that Zach would call her vicious, which was so shocking to me because Irina, just the other episode, you were being Micah's minion by going to listen in on Amber crying about being dumped by Paul. And while Amber was crying, you were over there laughing like a vicious bully, right? And then you were ran over to Micah, your boss, to go and gossip with her and laugh more about it. And then Micah, who's also another vicious bully, when she dumps Kwame and he's heartbroken and he's crying in front of her and stuff, what does she do? She goes to you and you both laugh about it and laugh about how she was purposely withholding validation from him. So the fact that you could be shocked, Irina, that Zach is calling you vicious, to me is viciously shocking to me. Okay. Like, it's viciously crazy, viciously like unfathomable, right? Like, come on now. Really? So their date kind of ends here. And so Zach goes and has a conversation with Marshall. And he says to Marshall that he thinks that Irina is a bit immature and that she plays competitive games. And he also tells Marshall that he doesn't know what to do because Bliss told him that Irina was a bad person. And that if he chose Irina, it would say a lot about his character. Because again, she says that Irina is a bad person. And so now it's time for Bliss to have her date with Zach. And so Zach, he brings up that comment about like, oh, it would say a lot about your character. She'd be attracted to a bad person like Irina. And so Bliss at this point, she starts backtracking hardcore. Now, all of a sudden, Irina suddenly isn't that bad. I'm like, Bliss, stand in it. You were telling the truth, okay? Stand in it. Don't backtrack. Don't falter. Just say, listen, I have seen some things that you have not seen. And the things I've seen are shocking, abnormal, vicious, cruel, and vile. I stand by what I said. I said what I said, and you can go ahead and do what you will with that. How did you guys feel about the way that Bliss handled that, by the way? One thing I will say, though, is that I feel like Bliss should have just left it alone. It's typically when even if you were justified in your opinion, if you kind of like say something negative about someone else, people, because they don't know you, they've never seen you, like, and they've only been talking to you for days, they don't know your character, they don't know your heart, so they might think that you're the bad person who's just trying to stir up drama and stuff, right? So yeah, just be careful with that, Bliss. I think that that's where she went wrong. Anyway, Marshall and Jackie now meet each other in person, and it was a very beautiful and emotional kind of moment, and I loved it. I have hope for them. Remember, I think that Jackie is a bit too, I don't know what the word is. I think she's a bit too rough around the edges, I will say, for Marshall, and I think that she still has a lot of emotional regulation and maturing to go through before she's ready for marriage, especially with a man like Marshall. But I do see genuine love there between the two of them, that's for sure. So after being confronted by Zach about the comments about Irina and whatnot, Bliss decides to pull Irina to the side and ask for some sort of a peace treaty because the drama is hurting Zach at the end of the day. And I was like, wow, she is just such a lovely person. Like, the fact that she's so concerned about what's hurting this random man on the other side of the screen that she's in love with, more so than the actual drama between her and Irina, says a lot about her. I think she's got a really good heart. And so I like her and everything at this point. So she has another date with Zach. She reads him a poem about love, and Zach dumps her at the end of the poem. But listen, it was not easy for him. He was incredibly devastated, crying, having a hard time breathing. So I do wonder if he's going to be the one who changes his mind later on. Only time will tell. Now, Kwame decides to propose to Chelsea. Remember, the one that he loves because she loves him. That's his favorite thing about her. I can't get over it, you guys. I'm sorry. So he proposes with a speech about black jeans and khaki pants. He usually wears black jeans, but today he wore khaki pants, and the khaki pants look great All right. So Chelsea accepts her position as his second choice, aka the proposal. And again, I know maybe I misspoke in my first episode recap, you guys, when I said that I felt like Zach was making fun of strippers, but there's just something about it. Like when he was like, oh, telling girls when they ask what he does for work, oh, I'm a stripper, oh, I'm homeless. There's something about that that I don't like. I don't like guys who feel the need to test women and judge you based on your response to very simple things. A woman is not a bad person if she doesn't want to date a stripper. You're not a bad person if you don't want to date a homeless person. If it's just, what are these tests for? It's just your own preference, and we're all entitled to our preferences, right? Like there's so many things, there's so many types of people that I don't date simply because I don't want to, and I have the right to not want to, right? I know what my lifestyle is, I know what my goals are, and I know what aligns with that and what doesn't. And so does everybody else. So I'm disgusted by this sort of behavior. I'm sorry, you guys. I don't like it. I think there's something very misogynistic and condescending about this stuff. You know, like, sorry, I don't like it. I really don't. I need to find a way to better like articulate what I'm trying to say there. But there's something about it I really don't like. It gives me like podcast bros, you know, like those misogynistic podcasters and stuff, these like random, you know, regular ass guys who accuse all women of being gold diggers and stuff. Let me test her by taking her to McDonald's. Then if she's worth it, I'll take her to a, you know what I mean? Like, no, I can't stand it. So anyway, he decides that he is going to propose to Irina at this point, and he just starts singing, and I'm sorry, but it was awful. And it just kept going on and on and on. And yeah. Now, Chelsea and Kwame, they meet for the first time. And I do have to say that there is a lot of actual chemistry between the two of them. You can tell that they're definitely attracted to one another, especially Chelsea towards Kwame. And then Zach and Irina meet. And immediately I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work out. They seem just so scared of each other. Like she did not want him to kiss her or anything like that. And they just were like, he was looking at her basically like that, but with wider eyes. I have to be honest, like the way he was staring at her made even me uncomfortable, and she was uncomfortable. She told him that he looked like a cartoon character, and then like he's like, can I kiss you? She's like, why don't we just hug for now? And I'm like, yeah, they're only going down from here at this point. I'm sorry, but that is not going anywhere in my initial kind of perception, I guess, or impression of their interaction, right? Like you could just see there's no attraction there from her towards him. But even on his side, I'm like, why are you just staring at her like that? Like they're meeting and they're sitting next to each other. And he's like this. I'm like, and he's like, that's not attractive, you know, like, I don't know what he was aiming for with that. I don't know. And I think his mouth was even open. So more like, I don't know. Like I felt very much the same ick that I think Irina got from that. It's not about whether or not he's attractive or whatnot. It's just like the demeanor and the composure. I'm sorry, you guys. I lose my words all the time. It's the way he carries himself, like staring at you. Like that's not attractive. I'm sorry if you're attracted to that. God bless you, but I'm not. And clearly Irina is not either. And clearly a lot of other people just got that weird vibe as well from some of the stuff that they were saying later on in the season, which we will get to in other episode recaps. But in the meantime, let me know what you thought about episode 3. Irina sort of really trying to strong arm a proposal out of Zach by manipulating him when it comes to the Bliss situation. Remember, she was talking crap about Bliss in episode 2 because Bliss had remembered Zach's birthday, baked some cakes. And then so at this point, Irina starts trying to plant seeds that Bliss is a mean person or something like that. She's very, very conniving. And I do want to know what you guys think about that. Are you guys on the same page as me when it comes to Kwame? His favorite thing about Chelsea is that she loves him. Ugh. Let me know what you think about everything, okay, in the comment section down below. Oh, and this, do you see the chemistry between the two of them, or was something off? Let me know in the comment section down below, and as usual, we'll chat. Stay tuned for an episode 4 recap and all the rest. Bye.